Do you put Steve will do it stuff on YouTube?
No.
His weird to me. Like, why the they hate him that much?
I think that one's a lot deeper. I could talk about this one forever, and I'm just not gonna.
Like what I heard about that was the whole state.com thing. I'm like, yo, is that serious?
I think it's deeper than that.
You can't have his likeness in a video. That's crazy.
Yeah, at all. Like he's like completely. But I think I don't know. I hope. I feel that it's gonna change. I do. I feel like it's gonna change.
Nah, I think it's gonna get worse, man.
No. I think for Steve, it's gonna change.
Oh, okay.
And that story is just way deeper. I think it's just there's a lot more to that than just that steak thing. That like you probably will never hear. People will probably never hear.
Well, I'm worried for the platform in general.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, I believe YouTube is now exercising its
martial law.
Yeah, it's exercising its power to say, really, we've always told you that we've preferred certain type of content that was super brand safe.
You motherfuckers aren't listening.
Yeah. Like left leaning, this and third.
Yeah.
And some of you motherfuckers must have not gotten the memo. You should have been shaping up and shifting out like long time ago. Now we're getting you one out of here.
It's tough, man, because like that's just really unfortunate being such a massive platform, Google, YouTube, that it's like how are we having like literally the biggest video platform on the planet being like, yeah, like we're kind of deciding this.
That's why I didn't move to Rumble too. Like I'm still good on YouTube and everywhere else, but it's like, man, I really don't know what the future holds. Like, you know, there's certain content that, man, I think about 3 times before I put it on YouTube, even Twitch.
Yeah, I hate it because it's like, bro, whether you agree or disagree, like, shouldn't it still be a conversation? That's my biggest thing is like, I get there's some things that are just like, yo, that's really crossing the line. Like, no one's trying to hear that shit. But when does it get to the point where things that should just be spoken about are just completely like, nah, we're not trying to hear this shit because we believe this so heavily?
What I believe now is that YouTube, more than ever, is being used on some like propaganda stuff. Like people have these messages being sent. Like, for example, it's not just content. Like, they don't care if you, I don't think they care if you make like an obscene joke that's just kind of like aha, like stupid joke. But like, you know, let's think about the people, or let's think of like even say, you know, Crowder, he got demonetized. Like, let's think about Fresh and Fit. They're now realizing like, yo, you guys are creating a whole group of people that are thinking this way. And you're not using this platform to only disseminate content that's entertaining. You're disseminating ideas that could ultimately mold and shape how people in civilization move.
Bro, the whole world.
And that's I've always said that the greatest form of power is influence. You know what I mean? If you could influence how someone think, or how you could influence them even starting a thought, right? Based on how you kind of indoctrinate them to feel about certain things.
Yeah.
That's super powerful. And I think they're realizing that now, that there's this huge subsection of the audience that, some of them are just red pills. Some of them, you know, they're down this kind of like anti-government, blah, blah, not trusting, whatever. And it's at the point, obviously January 6th was some shit that they were like, whoa, what the that now they're fearful of. So they're like, yo, let's get these motherfuckers out of here. And, you know.
But so that's what's weird though. My point is like, whether you believe this or that, left or right, I don't care, right? Yeah. I don't I hate all of it. But it's like, so we're just not supposed to have like a sort of discourse about anything. It's just like, it's either this or it's nothing. And that's scary. Because like in reality, it's like, let's say 100 years from now, it's the opposite, right? Let's say it's all like right, it's instead of left, right? And it's like, well, then what then? Like, what about those voices just don't matter? Like none of that, because it's just what we want, how we want it. Is that just, so is it just coming down to this one, this is how it has to be? And if you're not falling in line, you're not with us, like you're just gone. That's scary, because that thought is, the reason why it's scary is because whether it's that way or this way, it's a problem. That's a problem.
They're sending a clear message, like basically, hey, entertain, but don't try to change people's minds.
Like, well, I'm not even trying to change no one's mind. I just want to have conversation.
Well,
you think conversations change your minds?
Well, sometimes those conversations could become big enough where there's an ideology behind those conversations. Like if we're having a religious discourse, right, and I have a particular ideology behind the discussion I'm having, and who knows? We're having these debates, and people are now kind of siding with me. Now they're probably going to start thinking like me. And I think YouTube is like, yo, listen. First of all, the thing that makes them the most amount of money is these little kid videos. Hey, little toy, I mean, shark, whatever this bullshit
Mr.
is,
Beast stuff.
right? Yeah, all that type of stuff. They're like, yo, we don't want you more like, yeah, have like discourse, but like, don't try to have people, don't try to change no one's minds. Which, by the way, just kind of lets you know where the world is now. Where it's like, you know, and I forgot who said this most famously. Is like, an idea is like the most dangerous thing. Like, just even having that idea, or just having something that people could believe in, is just the most dangerous thing for like a governing body. You know what I mean? Because
Bro, but
that's how in many countries, like, if not regulated, if their media wasn't regulated, that's how coups start, right? Like, you know what I mean? That's why in many other countries it's repressive in terms of like what you could disseminate via their media, right? They outlaw certain type of thinking that goes against the grain, because if information is spread freely, you're always going to get those little subsections of society which whoever who governs all this, they don't like, because it breeds for a while and festers, and then for them, at least in the US, the actual embodiment of that is January 6th. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get it. But that's a scary thought, because if you flip it completely, then it's like I said, at one point it was like, are we just saying like individuality and like your own thoughts just don't matter? Because like take that to the thousandth level, like the 100th degree, the millionth degree, and you take it 100%. That's just like, what do you want people to just be robots and just do exactly what you think and believe, and that's it? That's the problem, right?
True.
Because if you took that the farthest you could take it, which is saying that like, yo, we believe this, and you know, there's some people who believe that, and we want to quell that, whatever you want to say. Like, let's say you quell to the point of all the way gone, and there's only this. So you only want people to think, believe, feel, and agree with this one narrative. That's not human, dude. That's robotic. That's the problem.
Well, they also ran into the problem with, like, you know, everything. It's like, yo, wait, we want the population to do A, and then they're now receiving alternative information that's making them reconsider doing A and thinking about doing B. And they're like, how do we combat that? It was like, well, we run these, or we run the outlets that they're getting the information about B. Let's handle it. It's just a scary time we're getting into.
I know, man.
You know, it's a very scary time with how information is going to be disseminated.
I mean, bro, I kept my gym open that whole time. And I was getting yeah. I mean, I talked about this a few times on pause, but I was getting destroyed. There were like letter after letter, health department. Bro. Fines. Went to court like 9 times. Then nothing happened.
Wait, so the cops didn't like show up and like, yo, this shut down
every time. And I was like, I'm not shutting it down. Sorry.
Can't they
Here's
force
a fine.
you to?
Here's a fine. No.
Really?
What are they gonna do? The cops, this is the crazy part. The cops are like, we don't even want to be here. We're here because that health department guy called us and said we got to come with him. We don't agree with this. That's what the cops were telling me in person. But we have to do this because we got to make sure he's safe.
Yeah.
Period. And so I'm dealing with this, and like I just kept getting to the same point where I'm like talking to the health department guy. You know, he's a city local official or whatever, and I'm like, this is going to be towards the beginning, 2 months in. I'm like, well, can you explain to me, if you can give me a really good reason why this is more detrimental to public than airports being open right now? I'll shut my gym down.
Wasn't
You know what?
your
Hold
gym
on, but you know what he
considered
said?
essential?
No, bro. Really? No, gyms were not considered essential. You know what was considered essential in the same exact local district area? Fee sets. So
What was that?
meaning like we could have a bunch of people here in a room,
Yeah.
in this room,
Yeah.
and we could perform and film. This is in the San Fernando Valley, and this is considered essential because it's an entertainment venue, something like that.
Really?
In the same place where said the gym wasn't. In the same place, like Costco down the street with thousands of people is okay. And I'm telling these health department people this, and they're just like, oh, I have to talk to my supervisor. And I say, well, okay, supervisor comes one day, and I ask him the same question. There's no answer. And I say, tell me why airports are wide open. And that's like the biggest transfer of people all across the country. And he goes, well, that's not my jurisdiction. So I'm like, so are you telling me that it doesn't spread because it's not your jurisdiction there? Oh, I don't have an answer for that. So I kept talking to these people, and there was no logical explanation other than we just don't want the shit open.
Yeah, that was definitely a time that the government tried their hand at it. I mean, shit.
And you know, it was unfortunate too, though, man. I want to say one more thing because then all the studies and everything's like, yo, the gym was actually really important. Vitamin D is actually really important. Like being healthy is actually really important because this thing mainly affects your cardiovascular system and like the inflammation of it. And all these other things are actually like making it better. And now we're realizing how important it would have been for so many people to like have gone towards that stuff instead of, you know, alcohol stores is open. Obviously, there's a whole argument for that because there's, you know, alcoholics who are dependent on alcohol. They need alcohol. But it's like, okay. And then I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, if that's true, because people, I'd be like, well, why are alcohol stores open? And I tell them, oh, well, alcoholics is dependents. They'll die if they don't drink alcohol. That's true. Okay, fine. Then why don't we just, like, if we're being so serious, because it's so serious, and I would ask the health department people this, I would say, then why don't we just have, if you're an alcoholic and you could like, yo, you're an alcoholic, then you can get it. But like, how many people are an alcoholic going to the alcohol store? Probably a lot, but there's probably like,
Probably way more that's not.
way more that's not. And so we're just saying fuck it. And like, but that's good to be open. That's okay. Like we can get those things that literally alcohol and tobacco make our cardiovascular system worse. While we're talking about we're trying to protect people. But the thing that makes them better, we're saying, no, we're drawing a line there. And there was no like, it just didn't make sense.